Okay, I'm gonna skip all the splash screens here and just jump straight into the roster. This is the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1, specifically the release from 2016, and it is super modded. Purpose of this video is just to showcase both sets that I have set up so far. This means I have a total of 100 playable characters. Okay, I'm gonna wonder why Wolverine doesn't start. Wolverine should be part of the starting set. I'm gonna have to go inside of the character info file and tweak that. Okay, quick code to unlock everything. I'm gonna do another code to unlock costumes. As you can see, everything has been completely overhauled from the characters in the character select screen to the background. All of the models have been completely replaced with high poly modern versions of whatever respective character. Excuse me. So I'm going to remove everyone here. There you go. That's the character select screen in all of its glory. This is all of the characters. This is the way I have it set up. There's definitely a method to my madness. My goal here for specifically my first 50 selectable characters was, of course, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hopefully you agree I succeeded. I've done it swimmingly. So I'll jump over and I guess show a new character that I have. There's two new characters here actually. There's Okoye and Shang-Chi. I'm going to skim through one of the characters just so you can get a feel for my naming convention, which I think is very important. Just so you can understand like how in depth I go with per character. It's vitally important to me that you properly name each skin for the character, and also that you replace the skin for the character with something appropriate too. Okay, this is my first 50 set. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen this before. You can see Stan Lee on the right corner there. I will not make a roster from this point forward that does not have Stan Lee in it. Sorry, it's just Stan Lee is Marvel. So I'm gonna switch over into my second EXE, and my second EXE comes complete with its own internal file structure. It has its own save file connected to it. It's basically 100. It makes it so that you can select from 100 characters now. I'm gonna switch over now. As you can see, it's showcasing 50 more characters. I'm gonna put in a couple just to unlock everybody. I'm gonna do one more. This is for the costumes, of course. And as you can see, I have 50 more characters. I've successfully added them to the game, and I've done it without conflict. I'm going to explain the method to my madness here. A lot of you guys are probably jarred by my choice here for my character select, but trust me, I'm not digressing, and I'm definitely not fanboying. No rosary goggles altering my choice for my Marvel characters here. On the far right of the character select screen, you'll notice the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's it's originally released by Saban in the US, but what most people don't know is Marvel has the official authority to release the Power Rangers in comic book form, and also Disney. If you've seen Disney XD, it's just a kids channel. Disney actually shows Power Rangers. It's if you're not familiar with how these companies and franchises works, Disney is basically like a conglomerate or a mega organization that owns Marvel. They currently own Marvel, at least. So, and Disney also owns quite a few other franchises, but I know specifically Disney owns Marvel. So, just seeing Power Rangers on Disney XD was enough for me to be like, okay, they can do a crossover. And also, I did research. I research everything before I do it, of course. But after extensive research, I've also learned that Marvel has authority to and has released plenty of Power Ranger comic books. So therefore, I think Power Rangers is Marvel. And don't get it twisted. Power Rangers is actually not a U.S. property. It was actually stripped from a Super Sentai, which is a Japanese show that we took, basically brought over to the U.S., converted to our culture, and then just slapped a pretty label on it. It's actually not our product officially. If you notice on the immediate left of all the Rangers there, you'll notice Star Wars. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi and there's Darth Vader. I put them in here because again, Disney owns Marvel, and Disney also they bought Star Wars from Lucas. So it just makes sense that they could do a crossover, or they could be Marvel characters. So of course here they are on my roster. To the immediate left of those two Star Wars characters, specifically, I want you to look at the top row. There's Judge Dredd. He's to the left of the Kamen Rider. If you're not familiar with the Kamen Rider, he's to the right of Hela. But Judge Dredd actually has plenty of Marvel comics out. I'm actually kind of butthurt considering he's not as popular as I think he should be, even though he had a really good Dredd movie that came out in I think 2012 or something like that. But he's been represented properly in media, in my opinion. I just wish his fandom was a little deeper. But yeah, given that Dredd has done plenty of crossover comics, he's had Marvel comics just blatantly released with his name on the title. It's easy to just put him in the roster for Marvel without having an issue. So that's what I did. To the immediate left of Judge Dredd, from top to bottom, of course, all the way until the center, you'll notice there's a plethora of varied, really X-Men is what I'm saying here. Yeah, there's quite a few X-Men characters. I noticed Blade in the back there. Blade is yeah, Blade is a Marvel character, but yeah, majority of them are X-Men characters. I just went for it. X-Men is Marvel. I just put Marvel's characters, iconic characters here, specifically the ones that I couldn't really fit in my first set of 50. To the immediate left, starting from the center of all of the X-Men characters that I just explained, you'll notice that there's Marvel versus Capcom characters. It ranges from Marvel versus Capcom 1 all the way up to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I've also took the pleasure of integrating models from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 where I deemed applicable, meaning quite a few of these characters you're looking at here, they have Ultimate Alliance 3 models ripped from the game. I'm not a fan of Ultimate Alliance 3. I won't lie to you. I don't like that game. There's so much wrong with that game. I can't possibly explain it to you in one video. But if you want to know the most egregious offense in Ultimate Alliance 3 for me personally, it's the palette swaps. I don't do palette swaps. To me, it's disrespectful, especially when you're starting when your default skins aren't skins we're familiar with. But I digress. I pretty much integrated as many Marvel vs. Capcom characters as I could on the left. There's only one outlying or outstanding character on the left side of the character select screen, which would be Spawn on the top left there. He's on fire. I put Spawn there specifically for internal reasons. It's just a coding thing to get that fire effect to properly line up with his body and line up with Human Torch on my first EXE. They are still. These sets of characters are separated, specifically EXE1 and EXE2, but they're still connected internally with certain files. And unfortunately, that's the file I found. You'll notice on the right, there's Dormammu. He's next to Domino or Nightcrawler. He's on the right side of the select screen, slightly towards the center. His head is on fire. He looks like Ghost Rider. Dormammu looks like Ghost Rider. So I chose to put him there in the same location that my Ghost Rider is located on EXE1. Just so you understand that, because I'm pretty much a stickler for detail. I'm very obsessive over particulars or minute things. And I would put Dormammu in Spawn's place, excuse me, and put Spawn in Dormammu's place, just kind of transpose them. But the effect, I just like the effect. The effect makes sense to me. I've seen people put Spawn in Ghost Rider's location so that he has his head on fire, but that doesn't make, I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense. That's stupid. Is Spawn, why would his head be on fire? If you're not familiar with his backstory, I read the comics, by the way. I grew up on the comics. Spawn was actually burned alive, so for him to be on fire in the character select screen is just way more intelligent than just his head. And of course, Dormammu has a flaming skull. So I don't know. This I'm over explaining. But to the left is Marvel vs. Capcom. All of the skins have been appropriately applied. I've made sure to find the latest mannequins I could find at the moment. Keep in mind this set 2 is in its infancy, or it's in its starting phase, which means I'm going through and tweaking things that need to be tweaked, as in finding the best hoods I can find, finding the most modern skins. Majority of these characters have six skins minimum. Some of the characters have 4 skins and 2 question marks, but that's only a few out of this entire roster. And I guess I'll show an example of skins that I've replaced. I'll just start with the left out of laziness. Use Dante since he's on the far left. So as you can see from my skins and my naming convention is very in depth. My first skin, of course, being Devil May Cry 5, given that's the latest version of Dante, and he of course matches his mannequin. 4. This is a high poly version of Devil May Cry 4. Devil May Cry 3. Again, this is high poly. This is actually from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. If you look at the naming convention, it's there in brackets. I didn't miss that little detail. And then of course the DMC variation or the alternate skin that you can pick in the game. This is just me simply just showcasing that I don't just add characters. I go through an in-depth rename, apply the appropriate HUD, correct the power style and fight style for every skin, and then I also do this, put in the best models. So that's just an example of something that I've done. If you're still kind of skeptic as if whether or not if I've gone through this entire roster so far, I've done most of them. I think there's one, maybe even two characters in this roster that I haven't completely replaced yet. As far as skins go,
Pink Ranger.
there's a couple of characters. Did you say Pink Ranger? What was that?
Pink Ranger.
Oh no, what is that, dude?
White Ranger.
Are you serious? So that's the X sound file. I know what file that is. I'll go through and fix that myself. That's weird.
Pink Ranger.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so for an example, another example of how meticulously or carefully I replace the skin, I always do research on the character when I add them to the roster, and I make sure that anything that's applicable or refers to them, I can add to them, and I do. As you can see, this is Lord Draken, which is based on what is it, Fight for the Grid. It's he's based on a fighting game that featured Jason David Frank if he were to, I guess, stay evil and basically kill everyone else. But if you're familiar with Jason David Frank, which is the real live action actor for the television show who played the Green Ranger and White Ranger, you know that he played quite a few different colors and different Rangers in the show. He's a pretty iconic person. As you can see, I just went through and I pretty much plugged in every version of every Ranger that Jason David Frank ever played. I recommend you guys check out his UFC fights too. Jason David Frank is he's no joke. But there you go. So this is just an example of how meticulously I research, how careful I am when I place my skins. He's the only character that has that feature. You'll notice the White Ranger and the Green Ranger are here in the roster. They're both selectable. They're both special too,
Green
given
Ranger.
they have. I'll just show an example here. They have skins, you know, that Draken doesn't have. So what else? No, this is my set too. This is my second set of 50 characters as promised. I'm showcasing it in the video. Again, this is in its infant phase or it's in its starting phase, so I'm still rearranging things and figuring out what I want to do exactly here. A lot of these mannequins may be replaced in the future. I'm going to make a I'm going to search. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to obsessively search for a third mod that adds 50 more characters connected to their own saves so that I can have a total of 150 playable characters. And I'm going to make a second set, or rather a third set of 50 characters. And in that third set of 50 characters, I think there's enough boosters and enough skins released to make, I'm just gonna go for it, another 50 MCU based characters. So basically, any Marvel Cinematic Universe characters that were not featured in my first EXE that you saw previously, I'm just gonna put them in a third set. And you don't have to hold me to that because I don't know. It's just it's a thing I may decide to do. Given I have 100 playable characters right now, this is actually a lot for me, to be honest. It's kind of overwhelming content wise. I'm actually satisfied with my first EXE. But yeah, as promised, here's the showcase. I hope you were entertained. I hope you like this set or arrangement. I hope you like this arrangement of characters, and I hope you understand the method to my madness. God bless.